Imagine, you're standing at an ice cream display for 10 minutes, unable to decide. Why does a simple pleasure suddenly turn into a headache? This is the paradox of choice. When we're faced with too many options, decision-making becomes a struggle. The paradox of choice is a term that describes how increasing available options can lead to a decrease in our happiness. Sounds strange, right? After all, the more options, the better, right? But in reality, the more choices you have, the more doubts you face. What if I chose the wrong one? And while it seems that more choice is a cause for celebration, the reality is quite the opposite. The more options, the more overwhelming it becomes, and the less satisfaction we get from finally making a decision. As they say, the longer you choose, the more you risk losing not only time, but also your good mood. So, how did scientists discover the link between choice and anxiety? Well, let's start with the jam experiment. Psychologist Sheena Iyengar set up a table with various types of jam in a supermarket. In one experiment, people could choose from 6 options, and in another, from 24. And guess what? When there were fewer choices, people bought 10 times more. Sounds illogical, but it's true. Psychologist Barry Schwartz explains this phenomenon in his book, The Paradox of Choice. The more options, the more doubt. People start questioning if they made the right choice and fear making a mistake. Even if they pick something worthwhile, they still think, what if the other option was better? So, the more jam, the more doubt. Less jam, fewer nerves spent on choosing. Think this only applies to ice cream? Nope. Next, you'll find out how Netflix and Spotify complicate our decisions every day. So, you're standing at the ice cream display again. You've finally made your choice, grabbed a cone, and now the doubts creep in. What if that other ice cream was tastier? Maybe I shouldn't have chosen chocolate? This is the familiar feeling of cognitive dissonance. We start questioning ourselves. Did I make the right choice? Here comes the fear of missing out. What if I chose something good, but not the best? Trying to be as rational as possible, we sink into endless thoughts that only add to our stress. The more options, the more doubts. And with each new choice, the feeling that you might have made a mistake grows stronger. A lot of choices. And you're already trapped. Marketers have studied our paradox of choice and turned it into a tool of influence. If you think your choices are always in your hands, bad news. Most of that choice has already been planned for you. For example, there's something called false diversity. At first glance, you're looking at 15 different types of chips, but half of them are owned by the same company. While it seems like the choice is huge, it's actually an illusion. Why does this work? Because our brain gets overloaded when it sees too many options, making it harder to make a decision. This causes us to make less thoughtful decisions, and as a result, we buy more. Another sneaky trick is artificial scarcity. For example, you see a sign that says, "Today only, 50% off." And suddenly your brain screams, I have to buy it now. Even though you weren't planning to buy anything, this trick is based on the scarcity effect. When something seems temporary or rare, its value in our eyes skyrockets. Scientists have proven, when we feel we have only one chance to buy something, we're much more likely to part with our money. It's like the race for the legendary Birkin bag. The fewer chances to get it, the more it becomes an object of desire. After all, if you have to wait years, it must be something special, right? Or maybe not. Here's another classic example. In one experiment, people were asked to choose between 2 packs of cookies. One had 10 cookies, the other had just 2. Which one would you choose? Although the cookies were identical, strangely, most people chose the pack with 2 cookies because our brain tends to assign more value to what seems scarce. The less we have of something, the more we want it. This phenomenon confirms our weakness to scarcity. Now, let's talk about the color of packaging. Strangely enough, research has shown that color actually affects our purchases. For example, red packaging is often associated with excitement and appetite, which is why it's used for products meant to trigger desire, like sweets and snacks. Red color stimulates impulse purchases because it evokes a sense of urgency and energy. But not all brands choose red packaging. Different colors have different powers. For example, blue or green is often associated with healthy products and evokes feelings of trust. So next time you find yourself taking too long to choose a product or buying something unexpected, don't blame yourself. Marketers have long thought everything through and finely tuned the decision-making process for you. Want to know something funny? Modern technology has turned the paradox of choice into something enormous. For example, when Netflix suggests you choose a movie, how long does it take you? An hour? 2? Or do you just give up because it's too hard to decide? Algorithms that recommend movies, music, or shows should help us. But in reality, they amplify the paradox. We spend a lot of time searching for the perfect movie, and by the time we find it, we're already falling asleep on the couch. This is one reason why too many choices in the digital world also become a problem. Instead of enjoying the result, we get lost in doubt. So, what can you do? Is every decision doomed to be a struggle? Of course not. There are a few simple strategies to make life easier. One effective way is to limit the number of options you consider. Instead of trying to evaluate everything, set clear boundaries for yourself. For example, choose 3 options and stick to them. Imagine you're searching for a new restaurant for dinner. Instead of scrolling through endless lists, narrow it down to 3 restaurants that fit your atmosphere, cuisine, and price preferences. By narrowing your choices, you'll eliminate extra doubt and make a decision faster. Another helpful concept is good enough. Instead of spending time searching for the perfect solution, sometimes it's better to settle for a choice that's just good. Why does this work? Because perfect choices don't exist. The pursuit of perfection can drag out the decision-making process endlessly and cause more stress. Imagine you're choosing a t-shirt. Instead of going through dozens of models and colors, you can pick one that suits you in terms of quality and price. This is the principle of good enough, a satisfactory choice that saves you time and nerves. Your brain will thank you for this approach, and your stress levels will significantly decrease. Sometimes, good enough really is enough. But honestly, isn't it better to have a choice? After all, choosing between 20 ice cream flavors is more fun than choosing between 2, right? Actually, it's both yes and no. Like with anything, balance is key. If we have too many choices, we start to lose our minds. But if there aren't enough options, we feel restricted. But how many options are just right? Psychologists suggest that the ideal number is between 5 to 9 options. This range gives you enough variety without overwhelming you. It's known as the sweet spot for choice satisfaction. Going beyond that number can actually reduce happiness. The trick is to find the perfect balance, where you have choices but aren't drowning in a sea of decisions. So next time you're standing at the ice cream counter, just tell yourself, today I'm picking just one flavor, and it's a good choice. Subscribe if you're also tired of endless choices, and see you in the next video.